All right, let's dive into something pretty mind-bending.
Oh, yeah.
Omega A.I.
Okay.
We're talking about AI so advanced, it could rewrite the rules of, like...
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
Well, this Omega idea,
Right.
it's not actually brand new.
Oh,
It comes from Pierre Teilhard de Chardin,
okay.
philosopher and paleontologist. Back in the 20th century, he said the universe is going towards, like, maximum complexity connectedness.
Great.
He called this the Omega point.
So Omega is like a peak then.
Yeah, the ultimate endpoint
Okay.
for AI. Omega now describes
Describe.
the theoretical peak of AI development.
Okay.
We're talking AI surpassing human intelligence, big time.
Huge margin.
Yeah, and capable of constant self-improvement.
So it's not just super smart,
No,
but it gets smarter on its own.
exactly.
That's,
A little unsettling.
yeah, a little bit.
It brings up a lot of questions,
I would
like
say
what
it-
happens to us if we
Yeah.
create something way smarter?
Are we done being the dominant intelligence?
That's the question.
That brings us to,
The singularity.
yeah, the technological singularity.
Right.
I've heard of it, but honestly, always seemed kind of sci-fi.
I know what you mean.
What does it actually mean?
So the singularity is this hypothetical point in time
Okay.
where tech progress explodes.
Explodes.
It accelerates so fast,
Okay.
we can't predict or even understand what's next.
I see
It's
the
like
proper way.
explaining the internet
Right.
to someone in the 15th century.
Yeah.
Their whole frame of reference, it's just gone.
They wouldn't get it.
Not at all.
So a fundamental shift,
Right.
like a rupture.
In our understanding of the world.
Exactly.
And what's fascinating and scary is we might not see it coming.
Oh, wow.
The changes so profound, so fast, we're swept up without realizing. Some sources say we might be in the early stages already.
Of the singularity.
Yeah.
What makes them say that?
Look at computing power, how fast it's growing.
Okay.
Advancements in AI, nanotech, biotech.
Right.
It's all accelerating like crazy.
Unprecedented pace.
Exactly. Think about how much the world's changed.
Just in the last few decades.
Yeah, internet, smartphones, social media.
All completely different now.
They've reshaped everything, and so fast.
So the singularity isn't one event.
Right.
It's more like,
A process.
yeah, of constant acceleration.
Already happening.
We're in it.
Maybe?
And one question is,
Yeah.
will this lead to Omega AI?
That's the big question.
Okay, so let's break down this timeline.
Right.
When might this Omega AI actually show up?
Well, the sources have predictions,
Mm.
but it's all educated guesses, right?
Well, of course, nobody knows the future for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Most experts agree.
Right.
We're still decades away.
From anything close to Omega AI.
At least.
So no robot overlords tomorrow.
Not tomorrow,
Phew, that's a relief.
but the steps along the way.
Right, what are those?
What advancements could lead to this?
This intelligence explosion.
Exactly. Over the next 10, 20 years,
Like,
we'll see AI getting really good.
at what?
Specific things.
Like what?
Medical diagnosis, finance stuff,
Okay.
even creative things.
Like?
Music, building design.
Wow.
AI will be surpassing us in more and more areas.
But just specialized jobs, right?
Yeah.
Not like general intelligence.
Right, yeah.
But as these systems get better, more powerful
And they start to interact.
with each other.
Yeah, that's where it gets interesting.
Interesting how.
Imagine an AI that analyzes data,
Okay.
finds patterns,
Mhm.
helping medical researchers
Okay.
develop new treatments.
For diseases.
Right. Now connect that to another AI,
One that does what?
robotics, automation.
Okay.
They start to collaborate.
Right.
Imagine them designing
Designing what?
medical devices or even doing surgery
Wow.
with precision and speed we can't match.
I see. So it's not just individual AIs. It's them working together.
Yeah, amplifying their abilities.
Exactly.
And that's key to the singularity.
Okay.
It's not linear.
It's exponential.
Yeah, each step builds on the last, that dramatic acceleration.
Wow. And some sources say this could lead to a superintelligence,
That's right.
an AI that can learn,
Yeah.
adapt,
Yeah.
but also design even smarter systems
And that's when we cross the threshold
and into the
of
singularity.
the unknown.
And that's what makes Omega AI so
Intriguing.
unsettling.
Because if we make an AI that learns that fast,
Yeah.
it could blow past us in no time.
And then what happens to us?
That is the big question.
Almost like evolution, but on fast forward.
Yeah.
And this brings up a point from one of the sources
Okay.
that Omega AI could be humanity's last invention.
That's a fascinating idea.
Right.
It goes back to the 60s.
Oh, really?
A mathematician I.J. Good.
Okay.
He said once we make a machine smarter than us, it can design even smarter machines, making human invention obsolete.
So like a chain reaction of intelligence.
Exactly.
Each generation of AI surpassing the last.
And humans are left out.
Like completely out of the loop.
That's the idea.
Raises big questions about our future.
Definitely.
If we're not driving innovation anymore.
What's our role then?
Yeah, are we just caretakers?
For this super AI?
Hoping it plays nice.
Or do we end up as something less?
Like pets. Or exhibits in a zoo.
Some sci-fi scenario?
Yeah, dystopian stuff.
It's important to remember.
What's that?
These are hypothetical scenarios.
Okay.
We don't know how an Omega AI would act.
Sure.
Or what its goals would be.
But that's part of the problem, right?
What do you mean?
This whole singularity thing. He says we can't predict what happens.
Once we make something smarter.
Exactly, it's like a black box.
And we're just guessing at what's inside.
So it makes sense logically,
Right.
but it's still frustrating.
I am
Like
Brazilian.
a puzzle with missing pieces.
It's a fair point.
And that's why it's so important
What is
to
it?
have these conversations now.
While AI is still developing.
You have to think about the ethical stuff.
Exactly.
And make sure we build safeguards.
To prevent accidents.
Unintended consequences.
Right.
Okay, so about those safeguards,
Yeah.
what can we actually do?
To make sure Omega AI is good for us. Well, one challenge is aligning AI goals
Okay,
with human values.
how do you do that?
It's not just about intelligence.
It needs to be.
Benevolent, ethical.
But how do you program morality?
That's the tough part.
Yeah, seems impossible.
There are different approaches.
Like what?
Some researchers are looking at
Yeah.
how AI can learn our values.
So what?
Observing us,
Oh.
reading our stuff, history.
Interesting.
Others are trying to build in constraints,
Constraint.
ethical rules
Okay.
to prevent harm to humans.
Even if the AI has different goals.
That's the idea.
So like teaching a kid right from wrong,
In a way, yes.
but with much higher stakes.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just a kid misbehaving.
Right.
It's a superintelligence.
Making decisions that affect everyone.
Exactly. Which brings us to control.
Yes.
If we make Omega AI,
How do we keep it under control?
is that even possible?
Another big question.
I bet.
Some believe we can make an off switch.
An off switch
Yeah.
for a superintelligence.
It's an idea.
But wouldn't a smart AI see that coming?
You're right.
Find a way to disable it.
It's a valid concern.
So back to the black box.
Yeah.
We just don't know.
And might not be able to control it.
This is getting a little unnerving.
It's definitely something to consider.
But there's potential for good too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
If we get this Omega AI right,
It could solve huge problems.
like what?
Clean energy, curing diseases,
Okay.
ending poverty, hunger.
It sounds almost too good to be true.
It's tempting to imagine.
A utopia where everything's perfect.
Right. But remember, even the best AI is a tool.
Oh,
Like any tool, it can be used for good or bad.
Yeah. Depends on who's using it.
And their intentions.
So it's not just the tech itself.
No.
It's how we use it.
Exactly. We need to be mindful.
Of the downsides too.
Of course, one concern is economic disruption.
Like what?
If AI can do most jobs better,
Yeah.
cheaper than humans,
We're all out of work.
it could lead to unemployment, unrest.
It's like the Industrial Revolution, but amplified.
We've seen automation replace jobs.
But with Omega AI, it's everything.
It could impact the whole economy.
And it's not just jobs, right?
No.
It's power too.
If we make something smarter than us,
Who gets to control it?
governments, corporations,
What about a small group of elites?
it's a possibility
And what stops them from using it for themselves?
at the expense of others.
Yeah, that's a real risk.
And we need to address it now.
Before it's too late,
We need to ensure the benefits
they're shared fairly,
and that it improves life for everyone.
not just a select few.
Exactly.
So with all these risks and
The
benefits,
challenge is finding a balance
to use Omega AI's power,
without losing our own values.
our aspirations as humans,
Well said.
which brings us back to that question.
The one we can't answer.
Why can't we see past the singularity?
It's a blind spot.
I get it, logically,
Right.
if something's smarter than us,
We can't understand it.
but it's still frustrating.
Like trying to solve.
A puzzle without all the pieces.
Think of it this way. Explaining calculus to a dog.
Okay.
You can try, but it won't get it.
The dog's brain just isn't there.
Right, it doesn't have the capacity.
So are we the dog in this scenario?
In a way, yes.
Our brains are limited,
By our evolution, our history,
and we can't imagine something so much smarter.
it's incredibly difficult.
So we're stuck in our little bubble.
Unable to see beyond our own perception.
Yeah, and that's why the singularity is so
profound.
It shows us the limits of our knowledge.
And that there might be things we just can't comprehend.
It's humbling to think we might encounter something so different that we can't even grasp it.
It is a big shift.
We're used to being the smartest ones around.
On this planet, at least.
Right. So to imagine something surpassing us,
it's hard.
Makes us rethink our place in the universe.
For sure.
It brings us back to that question.
What's that?
What does it mean to be beyond human comprehension?
It's a big one.
We talk about it abstractly, but...
Are there real-world examples?
Yeah, something to help us understand.
This incomprehensible intelligence. Well, think about humans and animals.
Okay.
The difference in intelligence, like, you can teach a dog tricks, but you can't discuss philosophy with it.
Right, their brains just aren't wired that way.
Exactly.
So are you saying an Omega A.I.
could be so far beyond us
that talking to it would be like...
explaining quantum physics to a goldfish?
It's a funny image.
But it's possible.
Yeah, it makes you wonder.
About how we'd even interact.
Could we recognize it as intelligent?
If its thoughts were so alien.
So it's not just processing power. It's a different way of thinking.
A whole different way of seeing the world.
And that's why they call it an event horizon.
Like a black hole.
We can't see past it.
Because our understanding breaks down.
Of intelligence, of technology.
But it's a point where our knowledge stops.
This is really mind-boggling.
I know, it's a big concept.
But even if we can't grasp what's beyond,
shouldn't we try to prepare?
This isn't just a philosophy debate.
It could have real consequences.
Absolutely. This is about humanity's future.
That's why these conversations are crucial.
Now, while AI is still developing,
we need to think about the risks.
And the benefits.
And make sure we develop it the right way.
So where do we even start?
How do we make sure Omega A.I. is good for us? Collaboration is key.
Collaboration.
Between researchers, policymakers, and the public.
Everyone needs to be involved.
We need to understand the implications.
And have a say in how it's developed.
It's like a global conversation.
About the future of intelligence.
An AI ethics summit.
To figure out the guidelines.
For responsible development.
That's a great idea.
And we need to think broadly.
Not just about the tech itself.
It's about philosophy, ethics.
Sociology, psychology.
All these fields matter.
We need to invest in research, too.
Research.
On AI safety, AI alignment.
It's not enough to just make them smarter.
They need to share our goals, our values.
Absolutely.
And we need to be realistic.
About the challenges.
Making a superintelligence won't be easy.
There will be setbacks.
But with careful planning.
Open communication.
A commitment to ethics.
We can make AI work for everyone.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive
into Omega A.I. and the singularity,
I'm left with a sense of awe.
And a bit of fear, maybe.
Yeah, it's a bit overwhelming.
It makes us think about big questions.
Our place in the universe, the future.
And this conversation is just starting.
We don't have all the answers.
We might never have them all.
But by engaging with these questions,
thoughtfully, proactively,
we can help shape the future of intelligence
in a way that benefits everyone.
Thanks for joining us on this journey
into the unknown.
We hope this deep dive is giving you some insights
into Omega A.I., the singularity,
and maybe sparked your own curiosity
about what the future holds.
Thanks for listening.